You guys have to bear with us because it is our first time and we are not technical gurus. We might be gurus in so many other areas, Alice, but that is not one of them.
Yes, and so we understand from the ones we've seen of this that we're going to give folks a few minutes to log in, and we're going to say hello to people as they jump on.
That's right.
And Marie, our first,
join us.
We have a podcast, just so you'll know, we're going to do this Instagram Live now to talk about Maria and Sangria, and just kind of get to know each other.
I have a story behind that, by the way.
Exactly. And then we have some people, some questions that have already come in. But as soon as we're done, our latest podcast that we just recorded is going to go live, and you can listen to that. And what we do this each week. It's hot mics from left to right. We talk about the news of the day and politics, and I obviously come at it from the conservative Republican standpoint, and you from the other side.
That's right. And I think it's important to give a little bit of history as to why we ended up doing this. So as you all may know, both Alice and I are commentators on CNN, and we throughout the years have been paired together to do panels, and we are almost always on the complete opposite side of topics. And I think that was especially the case these last 4 years. And what has come out of it, though, especially when we were on together, is the fact that we were adamantly against one another's viewpoints and really passionately defended our own, but we always did it with civility, with respect. We never made it personal. We never were nasty, and we were always able to demonstrate that we actually really like each other. And that's one of the biggest questions that I get.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. So many times people say, well, you completely disagree politically, but you still have civil conversations because we respect each other, we love each other, and I think it's good, healthy conversation. Karen, thanks for joining. See you hopped on, and good to see you. The key is when we're done here, we encourage you to go to any of the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you get them. And we also post them on my website, alicestewart.com, and listen to our podcast. They're usually about half an hour long.
Yeah, they're very digestible. And let us know if you want us to have a particular podcast on an issue, or even if you have somebody that you think would be a great guest for us. We'd love to hear that. We've had guests before. We want to do more of that as well. And I think that these podcasts are great because, again, the reason why we do this is because we have normally also a Saturday morning show that we do, a segment that we do on CNN on Newsroom, and we're going to be on this Saturday, 10:30. Everyone, please tune in. But again, I think that also demonstrates whenever we're done doing that, I always get the comments of just how civil we were, but how passionately we defended our positions. And I always get the question, Alice, I don't know if you get this. I get two types of questions. I get the first one is, are you and Alice really friends? Like when you see her in the green room, like do you guys chat? Do you really know one another? Like I don't think in people's minds, especially these last 4 years, that it fits in their minds how we can disagree politically so much on so many things and yet be really good friends. And so I answer, I was like, yes, absolutely. We are good friends. We enjoy each other's company. We hang out in the green room. And those kinds of conversations led to this idea. In fact, it was right when the pandemic was hitting.
Right.
Remember that?
We had our first meeting after a CNN segment. We talked about doing it at the Starbucks down from CNN right when COVID hit.
Yep.
And then we started doing the podcast. So it's
the other question I get, and this actually kind of bothers me, and I know you get this too on your side, is how can you stand her? And I'm going to be real here, right? It's like, how can you stand her? She supported Trump, this and this and the other.
A lot of people feel that way.
and so it all depends on where that's coming from. If it's coming from somebody that either has a lot of followers or is an influencer or that I know, I will answer. And I will defend you, and I will say, look, she's a really good person. I love her dearly. She has the right to have her opinion. She has been one of the very few Republicans that has completely given it to Trump when she thinks he deserves it. And that happens a lot. And that is not an easy thing to do in her profession, frankly. And I respect her a lot for that. But I always tell you when I get those types of things. But I'm sure you've gotten it on my side.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people automatically think that you, as a Democrat, you're automatically going to go against Trump or automatically going to support Biden. I think we both agree that, I'm pretty strong on policy, but I also appreciate civility and respect in the administration. That's one thing I'm pleased with the current administration with regard to. It is civil and empathetic and kind. I just the policies are not anywhere near where I am. So that's where we kind of have a little difference of opinion and disagree on things. Right.
But I think the bottom line is that we both agree that we're never going to get to a point as a country to solve our greatest problems if we continue talking past each other.
Right.
Or even ignore each other, which has become kind of that. Everyone goes to their corners and just doesn't deal with one another, as opposed to continuing to talk to each other.
Right.
And so that's what we're going to continue to do.
And one of the things I often say when I'm talking with, whether it's students or different groups I speak with, it's not about, I'm not going to change your mind on an issue, but I hope to broaden your understanding of an issue. And that's the goal. And I think the same with you. Right. And I think one of the things that often a lot of people that, whether you're watching or that are friends or people that have stopped me and said, I saw you on CNN, I listened to your podcast, they appreciate hearing the other side, because a lot of times people have not given themselves the opportunity to hear the other side.
That's right.
So they appreciate that. And they appreciate being able to have, the back and forth civil conversation. And I think that's important. And the more you can try and do that, whether it's with your friends and family, of course, my family, we sometimes we are in a situation where we just don't have the conversations.
That's sometimes if you need to do that in order to avoid the ugliness, then absolutely, that's the way to go. But again, it's an important platform for us. I know that a lot of people have come to us to say that they appreciate that we do this and that we kind of demonstrate how it can be done and how it can be done in an authentic, real way. And frankly, I also love, I get the comment a lot from women that they love to see two strong women expressing themselves on national television and doing it in a way that even though they might not agree with me or you, it makes them proud because we're women.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. Our colleague Brooke Baldwin just wrote a book, The Huddle, and it's phenomenal about hearing great stories from great women and encouraging women to be the best they can be. And I think that's really important to do that and be supportive. And it's hard enough in business or in what we're doing. So I encourage people to really do that and support other women. But as we said, we want to encourage you to check out our podcast. It's Hot Mics from Left to Right. You can find it on all the podcast platforms. And the newest one should be up now. We just finished editing. Yeah. She was cutting strawberries and she was
cutting the tape.
And so we appreciate everyone for tuning in and check out our podcast.
Fun things that you like to sip on.
I'm going to step over.
Ryan, again, gracias, mi amor. This was wonderful. I didn't have to add anything.
And this is Sam. Sam says thank you.
We couldn't have done this without her. She's our senior advisor on all of these things.
And our producer. But thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, have a great day.
Gracias, amigos. Take this. Bye, King. Gracias.
Alice Stewart, the longtime political reporter and CNN commentator, has passed away at the age of 58. Law enforcement confirmed the news to CNN on Saturday, saying that her body was found outside in Northern Virginia earlier that morning. According to CNN, officers believe her death was the result of a medical emergency and no foul play is suspected. Stewart was hired at CNN ahead of the 2016 presidential election and has since frequently appeared on air to comment on the political news of the day. In 2020, while speaking to Harvard Political Review, Stewart described her position at the network as a conservative voice yet an independent thinker. She mostly recently appeared on Friday's episode of The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Stewart was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and started her career as a local reporter and producer in that state. She then moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, to be a news anchor. From there, she served as the communications director in then Arkansas government. She was a co-host of the podcast Hot Mics from Left to Right with CNN commentator Maria Cardona. We send our condolences to her friends and family. May her soul rest in peace.